Kick-ass facts, outdated medical procedures. Pew, 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 pew! Don't ever accuse me of blowing smoke up your ass. I'm not an 18th century doctor. Tobacco smoke enemas were a medical treatment employed by European physicians for a range of ailments. Tobacco smoke enemas were thought to warm the patient from within and stimulate respiration. They were considered to be a successful treatment for cholera and were recommended as an alternative remedy to opium. It was also used to revive drowning victims. Bloodletting, by doctor or leech, is the withdrawal of blood from a patient to prevent or cure illness and disease. Medical practitioners believe that sickness was the result of a little bad blood. Bloodletting probably began with the ancient Sumerians and Egyptians, but it didn't become common practice until the time of classical Greece and Rome. Influential physicians like Hippocrates maintained that the human body was filled with four basic substances, or humors: yellow bile, black bile, phlegm, and blood. And these needed to be kept in perfect harmony to maintain proper health. Patients with fever or other ailments were often diagnosed with an overabundance of blood. To restore bodily harmony, their doctor would cut open a vein and drain some blood. In some cases, leeches were used to suck the blood directly from the skin. Early 20th century treatments for cancer and other diseases sometimes involved radium, which is now known to be highly radioactive and dangerous. Nasal radium irradiation for enlarged adenoids was a procedure that involved inserting radium-tipped rods into the nose to shrink enlarged adenoids. Radium was commonly mixed with water and sold as over-the-counter energy drinks in the early 20th century. Radium water was marketed under the name Radathor, with the slogan, "A cure for the living dead." It claimed to not only improve energy, but also aid in digestion, increase vitality, and cure impotence in men. The adverse health effects of radium were already known as early as 1913, but Radathor remained a popular drink throughout the 1920s, until the federal government forced an end to its production in 1932. I highly recommend the book, Radium Girls. There is evidence that people have used mercury as early as 1500 BCE. The ancient Persians and Greeks considered it a useful ointment, and 2nd century Chinese alchemists prized liquid mercury or quicksilver and red mercury sulfide for their supposed ability to increase lifespan and vitality. Some healers even promised that by consuming noxious brews containing poisonous mercury, sulfur, and arsenic, their patients would gain eternal life and the ability to walk on water. The Chinese emperor, Qin Shi Huang, I hope I got that right, who supposedly died after ingesting mercury pills designed to make him immortal. From the Renaissance until the early 20th century, mercury was also a popular medicine for STIs like syphilis. While some accounts claimed the heavy metal treatment was successful in fighting off the infection, patients often died from liver and kidney damage caused by mercury poisoning. Yeah, but the syphilis was cured. Ancient Egyptians used lizard blood, dead mice, mud, and moldy bread as topical ointments and dressings, and women were sometimes dosed with horse saliva as a cure for an impaired libido. Egyptian physicians used human and animal caca as a cure-all remedy for diseases and injuries. According to 1500 BCE's Ebers Papyrus, donkey, dog, gazelle, and fly dung were all celebrated for their healing properties and their ability to ward off bad spirits. Humanity's oldest form of surgery still exists. As far back as 7,000 years ago, civilizations around the world engaged in trepanation, a surgical procedure in which a hole is drilled or scraped into the human skull. Side note, if you haven't watched the show Dead Like Me, you should, and if you have seen it, you know where I'm going with that. A common theory holds that it may have been some form of tribal ritual or a method for releasing evil spirits believed to possess the sick and mentally ill. Still, others argue it was a more conventional surgery used to treat epilepsy, headaches, abscesses, and blood clots. The modern-day use of trepanning helps to relieve intracranial pressure, which prevents too much pressure from building up inside the skull.